Northeast France is facing a serious problem: wild boar invasions. Fields are devastated, communities are constantly harassed, and residents can only hope that hunting teams will restore peace. In today's video, we will take on this challenging task together. Stay tuned to see if our efforts pay off. Wild boars have become a nightmare for the French agricultural sector as they ravage fields, destroying crops from wheat, corn to grapes, causing millions of euros in damage each year. Not only that, they also invade residential areas, toppling gardens, damaging infrastructure, and threatening the safety of residents. To address this problem, hunting teams are mobilized each season to control the wild boar population. It is estimated that around 500,000 are hunted each year, but this is only a small part of the never-ending battle against this invasive species. Today's first destination was the Vineyard. The farm owner had warned that wild boars frequently appeared and destroyed the vineyards, so we decided to start there. As soon as we entered, a large figure flashed by in the distance. It was a wild boar. I immediately raised my gun, held my breath, and aimed. Although it ran very fast, consecutive shots began to ring out. The loud gunshots startled the other wild boars, causing them to rush out of their hiding places. But that panic was our chance. Aiming at each one, I tried to keep my hand steady, but I have to admit, the bullets did not always hit the target. Continuing to chase the herd of wild boars, we had to be quick so as not to miss the opportunity. Our hunting dogs were active, barking loudly to signal the location of the target. The giant wild boar was quickly surrounded. Therefore, it could not escape the fate of being destroyed. But it did not stop there. We also discovered other wild boars running across the field. The hunting dogs did not give them any chance to escape. The chase seemed to last forever, while the dogs made the wild boars run away in all directions. The gunshots echoed everywhere, and the wheat fields destroyed by the wild boars only made us more determined to destroy them. In the vast vineyard, I held my breath, carefully ambushing the wild boar. As soon as I saw its shadow passing by, I immediately seized the opportunity, pulled the trigger, and took it down immediately. There were a lot of wild boars in this area, so I had to concentrate hard. Every time a wild boar passed by, my gun was quickly pointed at it and gunshots rang out. From the distant orchards, the barking of dogs echoed throughout my hunt. Thanks to my patience, I was able to find and kill these wild boars. We followed the trail and searched for the target. As soon as we saw a wild boar appear, gunshots rang out immediately. I don't remember exactly how many wild boars were taken down, but the number was definitely not small. The air was hotter than ever. The battle with the wild boar was reaching its peak. Therefore, we had to be more vigilant, ready to shoot at any time. After the intense chase, we moved to another field, where the crops had just been harvested. But this was also an area where wild boars often frequented. I quietly ambushed an empty corner, always keeping an eye out. The pack of hunting dogs barked incessantly, chasing fiercely, forcing the wild boar to run out. With just one accurate shot to the flank, I took down the target. The wild boar had no chance to escape anymore. When I returned to the vineyard, the pack of dogs was still barking loudly, signaling the presence of the target. I chose a favorable ambush position, able to observe the entire garden. And then, from the bushes, a herd of wild boars rushed out. I didn't hesitate and fired several shots in succession. Although they moved at a fast speed, thanks to my skillful aiming technique, I was still able to take them down. Although today's mission was successful, the battle is not over yet. We will continue to protect the crops and property of the people. Thank you for following this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next videos. See you in the next video.
Wild boars are capable of causing terrible damage to farmers' fields. They often gnaw and destroy crops, grains, etc. Therefore, hunters like us have an important task of controlling the wild boar population, helping to limit their presence in the fields. Today, we will start our winter hunting trip in the hope of reducing the damage to farmers. Follow our journey. Wild boars cause serious damage to cornfields, causing farmers to face many economic difficulties due to the destruction of crops. The number of wild boars is increasing at an alarming rate, making controlling their population more urgent than ever. To solve this problem, in the winter, hunters often organize hunting trips in the mountains, hoping to reduce the number of wild boars. And maybe you don't know, winter is also the best season for wild boar hunting in European countries. On a snowy day, we were still ready to join the hunting trip. After being assigned tasks and hunting areas, we headed to the nearby forest. At the ambush point on high ground, I looked out to observe the forest. In the quiet space, a wild boar suddenly appeared. Its agile steps flew past. I immediately pulled the trigger, the gun rang out, and I also took down the target. Still in the same position, I looked towards the opposite road. The snow was still falling heavily, but we had great spoils here. Still in the same forest, I continued to move and search for other targets. This time the ambush location was also quite good. I could observe very well. Only about half an hour later, when my eyes were focused on observing, the silhouette of a wild boar appeared. It crossed the trail and was immediately taken down by me. It was not easy to find wild boars in this forest, but the feeling of hunting such prey was great. With the effort of searching, occasionally I would encounter a wild boar running away. It was alert, running, and stopping to observe, but it certainly did not expect that it was in my sights. Its agility could not help it escape. After the crisp gunshot, the wild boar completely collapsed in the snow. I was quite excited about this trophy, so I quickly pulled it onto the car. The next day, we continued our hunting trip. Moving deep into the forest and hunting was extremely difficult because after the snow, the trees were broken, so it took us a long time to move. But everything was worth it because not long after, I encountered a large herd of wild boars. A giant boar led a herd of slightly smaller cubs. Without any time to prepare, I immediately raised my gun and fired continuously at the wild boars. Everything was quite great because I hit 2 wild boars in the herd. The rest quickly ran away, but we still tried to chase. When facing the wild boars, the gunshots rang out regularly. Finally, the downed wild boars were scattered on the white snow. A few minutes later, we were in a chase with wild boars. While I was concentrating on observing, a huge wild boar appeared before my eyes. It panicked and rushed past me. The gun in my hand was ready, and as soon as I had the chance, I immediately pulled the trigger. After a series of shots, the wild boar tried to run away, but still could not escape. So we got the next spoils. That afternoon, we moved to another location to ambush. From the woods, the wild boars were chased by hunting dogs and ran away in groups. The wild boars were extremely large, but they did not detect that we were ambushing. When they moved to a suitable position, I immediately fired a shot. It seemed that a wild boar had been taken down. With this result, I was able to be satisfied for today's hunting trip. On the open ground covered with snow, the wild boars ran away at a fast speed. To miss the opportunity, I quickly raised my gun and pulled the trigger. Luckily, I was able to take down a target. So after a tireless hunting trip, we got some good results. The whole hunting group caught a lot of trophies, which is what the farmers wanted. Perhaps such hunting trips will help reduce the number of wild boars here. Although the hunting trips entertain us, the most important purpose of these trips is to control the number of wild boars. This is the best solution to limit destruction to the farmers' fields. Thank you for following this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next videos.